What's up guys, this is my first video on my YouTube channel. So this video is going to be, as from the title you already know, what if Deku was the reincarnation of Madara Uchiha. So how this happens is, after everything, Kaguya, Madara comes, the Naruto verse. So Madara's dying, you know his usual death, like sad, painful, and sorrowful. The Sage's six once he dies, the Sage's six paths goes into limbo. He was like, "Do you want to live again and prove yourself as a better man?" And Mother was like, "Yes, of course, I'll do anything," because he wanted to redeem himself from what he did, like fighting the Shinobi Alliance wars, getting manipulated by Zetsu. Okay, so the Sage of Six Paths said, "Okay, I'll send you to another world with all your powers intact. In this world, there are people known as heroes and villains. This world is also full of something known as quirks. I will reincarnate you as a boy named Izuku Midoriya." Um, Mother was like, "Okay, so what are quirks?" So the Sage of Six Paths explains quirks and all, like how 80% of that world's population have quirks, 20% don't, they're not treated fairly, and all of that, like how All Might and everything. He explains everything about the world before, because he's the Sage of Six Paths, he's a literal god. So there's no denying that he wouldn't know all of that if he's sending him there. So he tells him all the details. Okay, then he was like, "Okay, now time to send you, B." Then he just, does some hand signs, does a powerful jutsu, and sends his soul there with all his chakra. But he won't get it until like he's 5. Okay, so it's the original timeline. Deku's born, or Izuku. He will change his name to Madara, of course. But there's a twist. He's born with one brother and one sister. Deku, okay, he is exactly like Madara, but he's more Itachi Madara. See, like when he's born, he obviously, his father had black eyes and black hair, Hasashi. So Hasashi is going to be in his life with Inko. So both of them are going to be heroes. Inko being in the top 20, Hasashi being like in the top 10, like barely, like the 10th hero. And she's going to be like the 14th hero. Okay, so well-known heroes, they're expecting their children to, have powerful mixture of their quirks. So, everything's that the three of them are born. For their names, I'm going to give his brother Izuna, and I know you guys are probably gonna hate me for this, but screw it. Rin Midoriya. Rin Midoriya. I couldn't think of any other Japanese names, sorry. So Rin Midoriya and Izuna Midoriya, and they name him, you know what? Screw it, I'll already name him Izuku. They still name him Izuku. So it's the age of 4, like the original timeline when Inko took Izuku for the quirk assessment test. Before that, one thing. So before that, going to the quirk doctor and everything, Bakugo already got his quirk like 6 months before Izuku. So he already started bullying and thinking like he the greatest. Okay, so he was bullying a girl. So let's just put this as a ship this time. The ship is Momo. Okay, I'm not gonna be, wait with you and tell you anything like, oh, I'm gonna keep it a secret or anything. The ship is Momo. So let's just say, like, they want her to experience like real life, then they'll like send her to like an actual good school. Like, this kindergarten was a well-known kindergarten. Let's just say because Deku's mom and dad are pro heroes or madaras. So let's just say, they both go to a better kindergarten, but Bakugo is still the same once he unlocks his quirk. You know, Momo doesn't like him because he's like all cocky and, acts up all the time because he thinks he's all powerful like All Might. So Momo is obviously not gonna like him. So like he's picking on her like, for having a weak quirk because, he doesn't realize it. He's only 4. He doesn't realize what kind of quirk she has. So, and Madara or Izuku or Deku, whatever you want to call him, he is very, very, very smart. Like his mom and dad noticed that he was very smart and very much more talented than the brother and sister. Come on, he's a reincarnation of Madara. He's literally Madara. So I mean, he's got the battle experience. He's read books. He's fought in wars. I mean, he's lived for practically millennia. So he's like college, high school level smart. Let's just downgrade it, not college, but high school. You know, because all of his, he's very wise. So, and I'm not gonna make him like cold and too distant. Like, see, if he doesn't know someone, he's gonna not be cold to them, straight off. But if he knows someone that did bad to him or treated him badly, yeah, he almost gonna murk them. Let's just put it at that. Okay, so I gotta do this, but his brother and sister are both really big dickheads. Yeah, they're dickheads. God dang it, I cursed. Whatever. I hope my mom didn't hear me. Okay, so yeah, they're really arrogant like Bakugo. They're like, once we get our quirks, we're gonna be way better heroes. And they're all praised like, good. Obviously, I mean, Izuna look, mostly looks like Izuku, but not with the freckles. And he has green hair. Both of them have green hair, actually. The little brother and little sister, Izuna and Rin, both of them have green hair. But Madara, they think Madara went more after his father, Hisashi. So they're expecting him to have like a similar quirk to him because he went more after him. I gotta fast this up. I'm already at 8 minutes. Okay, so they Bakugo's bullying Momo, and while bullying her, Izuku is reading, a book at the bench, not trying. Both of the, both of his brother and sister are playing somewhere else, other than the sand, because they don't want to mess with Bakugo right now because they haven't unlocked their quirks. So okay, um, Izuku sees this, like, okay, our Madara, and he was like, oh, hell no. This is the type of guy to, become a villain. Hey, I gotta stop this kid before he hurts that girl too bad. He wanted to be a changed man, like, before he didn't care about anyone. So I want to make him a little mellower to the, unknown people. So he was like, hey, stop it, Katsuki. Yeah, he doesn't call him Kachan. And he was like, oh, if it isn't Mr. Pretty Boy. Tire school. Or should I call you Deku? So, he was already teasing him at this point because he didn't know, like, if he had a quirk or not. Oh. And then he was like, I said stop. He came in between Momo and him. And Momo was like, please stop. No, don't. You will get hurt. He has a quirk. That's right, useless. You useless piece of pretty boy. Get out of my way. or I'll blow you to bits. Huh. Don't you know I'm gonna become as great as All Might one day? You know, Midoriya was like the flex and all. Like, you know, Izuku, she told him not to do it, but try me, Bakugo. Let's see if what you can do with your tiny explosions, because he's still 4 years old. He's not gonna have like super big explosions. It's like those little pops, like, you know, so those are small crackers. Yeah. Okay, so it's not gonna burn him. It's just gonna be like light scrapes if he hits him. But then, you know, Madara's battle experience comes on those two thugs behind him, like, you know, those two other lackeys of his, rush him with him, as he said, come at me. Izuku, no teacher was there, so nobody witnesses except Momo and those other three that were bullying her and Izuku, who was defending. So he was like, he ducked first. He ducked the big winged one that tried to hit him with his wing. He sent his two lackeys first, and he just wheel kicked him onto the shoulder, then spin kicked him up, like, you know, kicked him off his feet, and then punched him in the face. I mean, he is agile and he has the battle experience, but not the body right now. Okay? So Bakugo's other goon with the stretchy fingers try to wrap his fingers around him, which I don't even see it. Deku, or what do you call Madara, quickly jumped out of the way, like up, and you know, when Bakugo saw that, he tried to rush in like with a big explosion that will strain his arm and will sprain his arm, but he didn't care. He wanted him out of his way. Like, he was angry. Like, how the hell was this quirkless loser able to defeat like his lackey? So he launched a big explosion like those in the original series when he was 15. So he launched that. Um, Midoriya would lose an eye, would lose half his face if that explosion hit him, but just in the nick of time, you all know what it's time for. One Tomoe in one eye and two Tomoe in the other eye. You know it. Sharingan time, baby. Okay, so then he felt the surge of power and he knew he unlocked the Sharingan, but he didn't know what Tomoe it was. He could gauge the power of the Sharingan and figured it out that the one eye had one Tomoe and the other had two. He was quite impressed with himself, but not that much because he already knew how to use that. He just wasn't able to tap into the Mangekyo right now. And this was just a reflex of the Sharingan, as you probably know from the original series. Even if whenever Chia comes close to death, they always unlock it. It's never not possible to not unlock it. So his body like force activated his eyes. His eyes were bleeding just a little bit, one tiny drop of blood. And then he got used to it. Of course, he's Madara, so you gotta. Mm-mm. And then he was like, Bakugo sprained arm. He was clenching it and he was kind of crying because, you know, he sprained his arm, you know, 4-year-olds badly. And he thinks he broke it because he tried to hit Midoriya and it failed because he dodged it. Midair, he was really confused, but Midoriya just spin kick flipped over him when he was putting his hand forward while he activated the Sharingan. Momo saw his one Tomoe and two Tomoe, but nobody else did, not the other lackey, I mean. So he kicked Bakugo in the back. Bakugo landed on his face on the ground, knocked out. Then his other lackey was trying to run away. Then his other lackey, then Madara or Izuku was like, if you want to run away, I'll give you one chance, and never try to bully someone else for your own benefit if you want to be heroes. And the other lackey was like, you'll pay for this. He ran away taking Bakugo and the other guy. Okay. Mm, so after that, Izuku and Momo talked a little. They introduced each other, each, each of themselves. So first he introduced himself as, he didn't want to give his name because he didn't like the name Izuku, and plus it didn't suit him. So he was like, so what's your real name? Mom was like, um, why do you want to know? And Izuku was like that. I'm cold, but I just want to know the name of the person who saved me. Fair enough. Izuku was like, my name's Madara. Madara is Uchiha. Um, well, Madara-kun, thank you for saving me. Sure, no problem. He went to his desk and went to the table, where he was sitting at, or, yeah, outside reading. He went back, started reading. Momo, Momo was quite intrigued and such a mature boy because every time she walked outside, the boys only were like, um, the boys her age were like always, okay, I'm not gonna make it like that, but still, like, the boys always like around her were like super obedient and always like, um, went out of control when she was around. She didn't get it, but she knew it was. She knew Izuku was, or Madara, as he introduced himself, was somehow different than the other ones. So, yeah, that's where their first interaction happens. They interact a little bit over the years. They're fine now. Time skip, 5. All three of them are taken by Hisashi and Inko to the quirk doctor. You know, little stuff. Let's say Rin has an evolved version of her mother's telekinesis. Like, the S rank hero in Saitama? That little girl with, I forgot her name. Yeah, her big sister who's a B rank hero in there? Yeah. So she basically has the same amount of power as her. Like, create a mini tornado. Like, his mother can only pick up cars and all. She can chuck walls and stuff, but when she gets older, of course, like 15. Now she can only pick up, like, a table? Yeah, a table. Yeah, let's give it that. Say so she could, they tested her. Both of them had a quirk. The doctor was like, okay, so doctor found out both of them had a quirk, but Izuku didn't. So they were like, to Inko and Hisashi, do you want to hear the good news or the bad news first? They were like, the good news, of course. Okay, so your son has a quirk. Your son has the evolved version of your father's quirk, which basically allows him to create flames out of any part of his body and shape them a little more than his father. Shape them a little. Give the flames a little shape. So he has a lowered down pyrokinesis quirk. Uh, oh, that's so good, both of them said at the same time. What about Midori? What about Izuku and Rin? They asked. Yes, Rin has an evolved version of your quirk, Misinko. And what about Izuku? That's the bad news. Izuku is quirkless. Sorry, gotta do it. Sorry, people, gotta do it. Izuku was like not devastated or anything. He activated a Sharingan. He didn't care. So they were like, oh, okay. Their voices got lower. Before this event happened, so they were like, Mom, Dad, Rin, and uh, what do you call it, Izuna, sorry. Um, Both of them were like, "Mom, Dad, do we have?" Yes, they were like in the car when they were going back home. But Izuku stayed silent, and they didn't ask him if he was alright or not. Okay? So once they went home, they told both Rin and what do you call Izuna to go to their rooms and Izuku to come in the living room and sit on the table so they can have a talk. Izuku to with them. Come with them. They took him outside. They told Izuku to get in the car. Madara was confused, like he didn't know what was happening. He didn't know their intentions at this point. He he didn't have the Sage's expand Sage mode because his body couldn't handle it. So he didn't understand why they were bringing him in the car once they reached home. They said they had a special place for him because he looked so disheartened. Mother was sad because like come on, please don't tell me. Like he was thinking like his brother and sister aren't going to treat him as well as nicely as they did. You know, I'm gonna change myself. I'm gonna stop capping. And I'm thinking of making something good for Mother at least in this world. So let's just make it like, okay, see, his brother and sister weren't assholes. Okay, they weren't assholes like Bakugo. They were pretty nice people, like, but but because, the greed and, their children's trying, they thought that Izuku will only get in their way, like, of his brother and sister. So now Hishashi and Inko thought, why the hell not? Just abandon him. I mean, exist like he never even was there, and tell his brother and sister that he ran off because he didn't have a quirk and he sent a note. Like they'll make a fake note because 5-year-olds very gullible. Okay, so they were like, "Oh, put this blindfold on. We have a special place for you." They were driving. Okay, skip that. See, Izuku. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Mother knew what was happening. He was like, "Okay, if you're trying to abandon me, I don't even want to live with you." Okay. Yeah. So he was like, "Oh, he knew what was happening." Okay. At least my brother and sister are good. I'll make sure from the shadows that they don't turn them into evil people or greedy people like them. Never happens to any of their children. Hmm. They're gonna learn about this eventually, but not right now. His brother and sister. So he just went along with it. They stopped at a forest, like a huge forest, almost out of Japan, like that border of Japan forest. I don't know if there are huge forests there. They were like, okay, Izuku, sit down here for 10 minutes and we'll come back with something special for you. Izuku was sitting there for 2 minutes, then he got up, removed the blindfold. He already knew that they were gone. And so, he already awakened this chakra since, the Sharingan gives you the ability to mold chakra at a higher level. And his experience, plus Hashirama cells, you know, and Hashirama Sage mode, he built you know, a big house for at least 3 people, but it was only for him. Like it was a big bedroom, like with a study room and everything, like a kitchen, of course, everything made out of wood, and the living room. He knew he had to get the lights and everything, but he would sort that out another day. So he went out hunting. He did everything. He hunted. He he feasted on a boar. Screw it. He ate a boar, cooked it, and done. Okay, so after that, Uh, uh, let's time skip to 6 months. Izumi, Izuna, and Rin found out they were very, very, very sad because their older brother was like an idol to them. He was smart, talented, good looking. Everybody loved him, but he didn't have a quirk. They were very sad that he left just because he didn't have a quirk. That's what their family told him once. They made the fake note and everything. Like Izuku ran because he thought you wouldn't. They were very disheartened, and they were like, they talked to each other, they consoled each other, and they were like, if we ever find Big Brother Izuku, we'll tell him, and that we don't care if he doesn't have a quirk or not. We will love him no matter what, brotherly and sisterly love, of course. And they were both like, yeah, okay. But they knew something was wrong because that didn't look like Izuku's handwriting. So they couldn't tell but right now, but they would eventually find out like at the age of 13, like middle school, second year, you know, one more year to go to UA before that. They were 13, so yeah. So okay, they were like, okay, time to train now. Okay, let's time skip. 11 years old. We jump to Izuku's point of view, or as he renamed himself, Madara Uchiha. He had electricity, he read books in the library many times. The librarian was a very cheerful and very happy person. Very happy. Always willing to help him out. Always willing to, help him out with finding whatever books he needed. He was like a prime member of the library. Like, he used to come there almost every day. Like, he would miss 1 or 2 days in, circumstances. At this point, the power balance in, okay, Japan and China had increased drastically. Like, the difference in power balance. So they thought, like, we can take over Japan and expand our empires because they had a lot of quirk army, officers. So that's what happened. My, 1 year after 1 year of preparations, Japan already got the news because of intel leaking out, you know, by people. Like they didn't want to act suspicious, so they didn't ban Japanese people from coming to China or you know. Okay, so they were getting ready for 1 year. Izuku's 12. Everybody else is 12 from the original canon timeline. As you all know right now, China is at their borders, prepared to attack. They're informing Japan that if they do not surrender, they will full on attack and nobody will protect them. Since, since All Might's not here, he's still in Tokyo. He's not in, where Izuku lived, or, yeah. So he's still in Tokyo, so he won't be able to come right now. And they were prepared to attack right then and there. So they were like, Japan was almost like giving up hope. Like Japan also was getting prepared to like fight as fast as they could the government. Like Japanese people were scared and watching television like all day to be up to date with if they were gonna attack or not the Chinese. uh okay, so the Chinese was like, if you don't comply with us, the Chinese leader or the governor or the president of China was like, if you do not comply with us and all our demands of taking control of your nation, we will inevitably destroy in the entire Japan. Japan knew they couldn't destroy everything. They knew that they couldn't, but they could take most of it over. Everybody knew that. And most people would lose their homes. So, um, as they were all looking on the battlefield, where they were, prepared to attack from, there was a huge tower, you could say, like a huge rock. Like, let's just say, like ancient fighting or World War II, there was some, there was like a pillar created because that spot was the only thing that survived. A helicopter was broadcasting this on TV. Like, what were they gonna do now that China was gonna attack? On on top of that, you see a boy with a fox mask, a fan on his back, and a sword on his side, with the Akatsuki cloak. You see, an 11 to a 12, they couldn't tell, but they were like, who is that? And how did he reach up there? They were like that. Okay, and the army people were also shocked, like, they didn't notice him. Like, he was very visible on top of that. And this was like 100 meters on top of the sky, or 50 meters on top of the sky. So, like, they were like, who's that kid? Everybody was like, and let's say the army people were running at is then he was like, then the Japanese government was like, we will not surrender to you, like the intercom. Oh, so be it. The Chinese leader was like, the Chinese president was like, and then they all noticed a boy clapping his hands on top of the small pillar, or 50-meter pillar, as he could see it. And that's where I'm gonna leave you off. Many people might hate me, many people might not, but I'll send the next video as fast as possible to let you watch it. And if people watch it and like it, I will decide to do many more like these. Over and out. I'm just kidding. Fuck that. Bye.